Good evening and welcome to the DAR Schools Committee virtual visit to Crossnore School and Children's Home. I'm Ellie Betts, State Chair for the DAR Schools Committee. Our State Regent, Cecile Wimberly, brings greetings.
Hi, everyone. We're so happy to have you with us this evening. I know that I have had a great heart for the schools ever since I was on Judy Chaffin's board, and she took us to visit Crossnore. Crossnore was the very first school I ever visited, and ever since then, it has had a special place in my heart. And if I talk about it too much, I start to get teary-eyed and cry, so I'm not going to do that. Y'all know I'm a crier. But I hope that tonight, if you've never visited this very special school, one, it will be on your heart to visit in person when it is safe to do so, and that you will take away this evening why this school has become so special to so many of us in the DAR. So I'm thrilled that you are with us. And Ellie, I'm going to kick it back to you.
Okay. I would like to welcome our state officers, First Vice Regent Emily Robinson, Second Vice Carol Teeters, Chaplain Nanette Feeback, Recording Secretary Debbie Parker, Treasurer Sandra Long, Historian Felicia Hicks, and Librarian Amanda Hillard. Along with our guest speaker tonight, Brett Loftus, CEO, we're also welcoming Caroline Hart, who is the Chief External Relations Officer. And a special guest we have tonight is also a DAR member of the Blue Ridge Mountain chapter and a cottage parent at Crossnore School. She is our Vice Chair for DAR Schools, Katie Stout. And Katie is going to talk to us a little bit about what it's like to be a cottage parent.
Hi, I'm Katie. I've been a cottage parent at Crossnore it'll be 4 years this spring. And I heard about Crossnore and this job while my mom and grandmother were taking a tour of the campus. They stopped at the coffee shop and got one of those brochures. They're still there. I saw them this morning. It's all coming full circle. I just wanted to first of all thank everyone who donated gift cards and supplies for the fairy tea party and like craft activity we were supposed to have last spring. I still hope we'll get to do it eventually. But Ellie and Cecile sent me those gift cards a while back, and I just wanted to let y'all know what I did with them. I used those to start a board game library because we've spent a lot of time in the cottages, kind of social distancing or quarantining, and those have really helped give us something to do. I learned how to play Settlers of Catan this summer, and it's been a fun time. So I just wanted to let y'all know what I did with those gift cards you donated, and it's been a lot of fun and helped us out. And I wanted to thank my chapter, the Blue Ridge Mountains chapter, because they brought us pizza and donuts while my cottage was in quarantine, and Easter eggs and candy because we were also in quarantine for, I don't remember. I know just Easter, we weren't allowed to go do an Easter egg hunt, so we did one in the cottage. And I did too good of a job hiding the eggs because we kept finding them like a month later. So, but that was fun for the kids too. Being a cottage parent is basically just like being a part-time mom. It's every other week. I go from Tuesday to Tuesday. And so on my weeks off, I hang out, I do my own thing. I've got a dog I'm a pretty big fan of. And then when I'm at work, I have anywhere from, right now I have 4. My cottage can have 9 kids. And I just do like mom stuff with them while they're here.
Katie's
I don't know how to explain it any better than that.
Katie has the hardest job on campus. Being a professional parent for experienced trauma is a tough job, and she does a great job at it.
Well, thank you. But I'm sorry. I thought of things to say before I did this, and I know we're recording, and I think that I got nervous. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Katie. Right. I'd like to introduce to you now Brett Loftus, CEO of Crossnore. As the Chief Executive Officer of Crossnore School and Children's Home, Brett Loftus leads an organization that is dedicated to growing healthy futures for children and families. His experience working in a residential program at risk positioned him well to assume the executive role at Crossnore in 2013. Brett's executive leadership and strategic planning with the Board of Trustees led Crossnore to a successful merger with the Children's Home in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to become Crossnore School and Children's Home in 2017. Welcome, Brett. It's great to have you.
It's great to be with you. I am super excited to have this opportunity. And Tennessee daughters are very close to my heart. I am married to a Tennessee daughter. My wife is from Columbia, Tennessee, and both of my parents are from Cookeville, Tennessee. So I spent most of my summers and vacations as a child in Middle Tennessee. And now I live about 10 miles from Carter County. We are in Avery County, North Carolina, which just borders Tennessee. So if I want to go to a mall, I have to go to Johnson City to get to a mall. That's my closest one. And so I'm thrilled to be with you. We have a little presentation for you. I want to introduce Caroline Hart, who you heard about earlier. She's our Chief External Relations Officer. So Caroline does all of our fundraising, communications, and marketing. And Caroline is also an adoptive parent. She and her husband, Jim, who is our campus pastor, adopted 4 children from Crossnore several years ago. And so they have a total of 5 children, 4 boys and 1 precious girl. And my wife and I are also adoptive parents. We have a now 20-year-old son named Will that we adopted from Crossnore. So in addition to Katie and her day-to-day experience parenting children, Caroline and I can tell you what it's like to be foster parents and adoptive parents on the ground. We're going to start with what I wish you could do in person. I really wish you could come see, as Cecile talked about, until you come to the campus, it is really hard to imagine what it's like to work here and to live here and to be part of the ministry of helping children heal. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. So the next best thing to being here is we're going to give you a little bit of video tour, and then I'm going to tell you some things about our programs and give you a chance to ask questions. So Caroline's going to start our video tour. If you'll hang with us, we'll talk a little bit more after it's over. Looks like we're having a little bit of sound. Caroline, we can't hear it. So if you'll go up to view options, and then you can go on to be able to hear the audio also. Yeah, as Kelly said, when you share your screen, click the box that says share audio. So you might want to unshare and then share again. So while Caroline's doing that, let me tell you a little bit about the history. So we were founded by a DAR member, a North Carolina daughter, Mary Martin Sloop. Mary Martin Sloop was a musician, and she and her husband, Eustace Sloop, started this campus in 1913. And I am going to see if this goes here.
Welcome to Crossnore School and Children's Home. I'm Brett Loftus, Chief Executive Officer here at Crossnore, where we provide a sanctuary of hope and healing for the children we serve. This virtual tour is designed to give you a small glimpse into life at our 3 locations.
Welcome to our Avery campus in the beautiful Blue Ridge mountain town of Crossnore, North Carolina. This campus was opened in 1913 by Dr. Mary Martin Sloop and her husband, Dr. Eustace Sloop. Children in foster care may come to live in one of the 14 cottages on our Avery campus. These cottages are home to up to 9 children and 2 cottage parents. Each child has his or her own room with closet and dresser space, a place to store toys and other belongings, and a desk to do homework and read. Cottage parents live in the cottage with the children and work a 7-day on and 7-day off rotation. These professional parents receive more than 30 hours of ongoing training each year in our model of care, love and logic parenting, first aid and CPR, and much, much more. After school and on weekends, children at Crossnore love to be outside on one of our many playgrounds. Each child is given a bike of their own, which they can take with them when they leave Crossnore. Each cottage also has a cottage dog chosen from the local animal shelter. Chapel services are held weekly in Sloop Chapel, as well as special services held here throughout the year. Part of our holistic care for Crossnore kids includes medical care and medication management, as well as regular therapy with our licensed clinical staff on campus. Marjorie Williams Academy is a public charter school on our Avery campus. All residential foster kids attend school at Williams, as well as a number of community kids. Our children eat breakfast and lunch in Belk Dining Hall during the week. Evening and weekend meals are served family style in each cottage. Our cottage parents are great cooks. Our Avery campus also includes 4 retail businesses: Miracle Grounds Coffee Shop and Cafe, Blair Fraley Sales Store, Crossnore Weavers, and Crossnore Fine Arts Gallery. Students who are old enough to work usually begin their work with an on-campus job in one of these businesses. You're now seeing our Winston-Salem campus located on Renolda Road, just a mile from downtown Winston-Salem, North Carolina. This campus was opened in 1909 by a group of dedicated members of the United Methodist Church. As on our Avery campus, the children who live in Winston-Salem are also in foster care. They live in one of 7 cottages on campus and are also served by live-in cottage parents. Again, each child has their own room. The cottages have cottage dogs here as well, and our kids love to explore the farm and ride their bikes through campus. Our newest addition to the Winston-Salem campus is a dining hall and commissary. Cottage parents pick up their week's groceries at the commissary each week. One feature of our Winston-Salem campus is our High Ropes course operated by our Miracle Heights Adventure program. Under strict supervision by trained guides, our children learn what they are capable of as they push their physical limits. This translates to learning how to manage the trauma they have experienced in their lives. The Wren building is home to our clinical therapist and medical staff. Kingswood School is the alternative school operated by the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools and is housed in the Edwards building on our Winston-Salem campus. Kingswood students are served by Crossnore's Day Treatment Program, which provides group and individual therapy services with the goal of returning each student back to their home school within 90 to 120 days. The farm on the Winston-Salem campus is home to a few horses, goats, chickens, cows, and a llama named Tutti Frutti. It's also home to the Miracle Grounds Network, a collaboration of local farms, restaurants, schools, and other organizations working to build a sustainable economy in our community. The Hendersonville office was opened in 2018 with the support of local interested parties and donors. Out of this office, as well as our other locations, we offer outpatient and school-based therapy services and community-based foster care. Our foster care teams recruit, train, and support foster families who care for children in their homes. Monthly support groups are also held for these families to provide their annual training and a place to gain support from one another.
work we do here at Crossnore has never been more important. Our mission is to work with children and their families who are at risk of entering the child welfare system, those who are already in the foster care system, and those young adults who are aging out of care. With this vital support, children, youth, and their families can learn to heal from the trauma they have experienced, and they can set and reach healthy goals for their lives. At Crossnore, we see every day, goodness grows here.
Thank you, Caroline, for sharing that. Caroline's going to put up a few statistics on the screen, so I can just tell you a little bit about what makes Crossnore unique and special. Obviously, our relationship with the DAR is one of those things. So our longest continual donor is the Daughters of the American Revolution, and we have been formally connected to DAR since the 1920s. Our mission statement is to grow healthy futures for children and families by providing a Christian sanctuary of hope and healing. And those words are all very, very important. Hope is what we're restoring to children and their families most often. You can see just a little bit of map. If you don't know a lot about North Carolina geography, you can see our 3 physical locations, but our service area is really the entire western half of North Carolina. So if you think of Greensboro, right in the center of the state, all the way to Cherokee, the Cherokee Reservation, right in that western. And most of that top and west part is bordering the state of Tennessee. And so we are so proud to be able to be a premier provider of children's services in our state. Here are the few of the data points. Last year, we served 245 children on our residential campuses. One of the things that makes us unique, one of the reasons that we have such strong relationships with Department of Social Services in North Carolina is because we specialize in sibling groups. 82% of our children who live with us are living in the cottage with their siblings. This is critically important because those siblings are really the family that those children can keep throughout the course of their lives. Siblings are a really important part of what we do. We also have a continuum of service, so not just our campuses, but we have community foster care, kind of traditionally what we think of as a foster family that is licensed and trained in the community. Last year, we had 151 children. And similarly, we really focused on keeping sibling groups together in those foster homes. Therapy is a huge part of how our children heal from the things they have experienced and come live with us. Many of our kids have experienced the kinds of trauma that most of us could not even imagine. Last year, we served over 600 kids in therapy services and saw significant therapeutic improvement in the vast majority of those children. If you look at kind of how we compare to national statistics, national statistics are really low for a graduation rate for kids in foster care. Anywhere from 25 to 40% of kids are graduating from high school. The children that come live with us that we take care of, 95% of those graduate from high school, and about 85% of those go on to higher ed, either community college, a 4-year college, or military service. We are very, very proud of those statistics because those help us break intergenerational cycles of poverty, abuse, and addiction. Here are some of the ways that DAR groups and other faith communities help us. Obviously monitor donations and in-kind, but many of them folks come volunteer, whether it's once or twice a year or they volunteer on a regular basis. We are always looking for foster and adoptive parents. And we're really wanting folks to be able to follow us on social media and just to help spread the word about children in foster care. In any given year, there are about 16,000 children in the North Carolina foster care system. And so we are dedicated to really being the best of the best in serving those children and families to help them really write a new story for their lives. The DAR is a huge part of that. The ways you help take care of our children are really important to us and to them. They know when they see somebody come onto campus with a DAR pin or a DAR bumper sticker, they know why you're here, and they know you're supporting them and praying for them all year long. And that is a really meaningful part of their extended network of support. So I just want to thank you for that. I want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. Obviously, you might be curious. You might not know a lot about the foster care system or how it works. And I'd love to be able to answer that. I spent the first 13 years of my career as a child advocate attorney in the courtrooms every day, representing children. And the reason I left that work to come to Crossnore almost 8 years ago was because I wanted to find a way to get on the front end of some of the problems that often wound up in court. And what we're doing is intervening early with families to help them get the services they need, to get the support they need, so they can either be successfully reunited, or for many of our kids, find an alternative family and an adoptive placement so they can have a forever home. And obviously, we are committed to those children after they age out of foster care. We follow them until age 26 with case management and support, and additionally with scholarships to help them finish college if that is something that's in their plan. And so we're excited to be able to do that. I'm going to pause, and Cecile, you help me tell folks how to do, if you want them to unmute themselves.
Yes, that would probably be the easiest. You can either unmute yourself and ask a question, or if you're having audio issues, you can always type it in the chat box and we'll relay that question for an answer. And I'll kick us off with a question. I know there's been a lot in the news lately, and a lot of our ladies have been following the changes on the federal level with congregate care for foster children. And so if you could tell us a little bit about how Crossnore is able to continue those congregate care type settings in light of those new federal changes, I think that would be really helpful for our daughters.
So the federal changes are really about trying to prioritize families, which we absolutely support. It is why we have a network of foster families in the community and adoptive families in the community. But there are some children who, for various reasons, need to be on one of our campuses. For instance, those large sibling groups. It's a federal law that often gets violated, unfortunately, that children are supposed to be able to live with their siblings. Very often in community foster care, there's not enough space in a foster home, so those children get split up and sent to multiple different homes. We really fight to keep those kids together in a campus setting so they can live together. And the federal law is really focusing on a couple subset populations, and those tend to be our older children who are aging out. We've had a formal independent living program for many years. It's one of the reasons why our county DSSs continue to send children to us and will continue to send children to us. The other is that we, many years ago, committed to what we call a trauma-informed model of service. So our therapists on staff are trauma trained. Our cottage parents like Katie are trauma trained to help kids heal. That is an important part of the federal legislation. Unfortunately, many children's homes around the country did not make that shift to moving towards evidence-based practices and those trauma-informed care practices. They didn't have therapists, they didn't have nurses on site. So a lot of those federal changes were really trying to help organizations catch up to that level, but also it reduced funding. And so there'll be fewer children's homes going forward. What I'll tell you is that in North Carolina, Crossnore School and Children's Home is the largest group care provider, and generally across the state considered the best at what we do. And that is why we continue to do it even with the federal changes. We have great partnerships with the state and with our local county DSSs.
Thanks. That is fantastic and really helped explain that. I know I've had that question a lot in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and that really has helped clear that up. I know that we have a question from Vicki Tyler. She was asking, how can you apply to be a foster parent? And Vicki, are you maybe meaning a cottage parent, or are you actually talking about being a foster parent to a child in the system? and I'll look to see if there's clarification, but
I'll answer both.
good.
So if you go to our website, crossnore.org, you can apply to be a foster parent. If you live in the state of North Carolina, we can likely license you. If you're living in Tennessee, we would connect you with an agency like ours that's in the community where you live. So becoming a foster parent is a fantastic way to serve kids. If you ever want a career change and want to be a cottage parent like Katie, our cottage parents come from all over the Southeast because they work 7 days on, 7 days off. They're living here on campus for 7 days, and then they go home for 7 days and commute back and forth. And so we'd love to have more wonderful professional parents and love to talk to you about that if it's a career option for you.
And I think Vicki she lives in Memphis, so that kind of helped answer both questions. Did you have any follow-up that you wanted with that, Vicki? There's a little lag. Okay, if she does, I'll follow up in just a second. Right now we don't have any other questions in the chat box, but do we have any participants that would like to ask some live questions? You can unmute yourself. And if you can't unmute yourself, you can raise a thumb or wave your hands. Oh, here's a question in the chat box. Tell us about the weaving.
The weaving is such an incredible story about economic empowerment for women. Our founder, Dr. Mary Martin Sloop, was really frustrated that so many young girls were getting married at 13 and 14 here in the mountains of North Carolina and many years ago. So she started the weaving room as a way to teach young women the ability to have a skill that they could turn into income for their family. We have been weaving continuously for almost 100 years on this campus. We have a working museum for the Appalachian art of loom weaving. We have about 30 working looms in our weaving room, and any given day when you come visit, you can see women in there weaving some of the most beautiful pieces you could ever imagine. I love the stories of DAR members who've had a woven piece passed down from their grandmother to their mother to them. That's a really special thing that just doesn't happen very often anymore. And so our handmade items are pretty incredible.
They are gorgeous, and we've had you at several of our state conferences selling those, and they are gorgeous. I know on the schools tour, it took me a very long time to find my forever Crossnore piece because they're just too pretty, and you want one of every color. And the red one had to come home with me though. We have another question about the CAR societies that collect Coke rewards. And they've been collecting them for Crossnore. They wanted to know how you benefit from those, and is that a program you're still continuing to utilize?
I'm going to ask Caroline to weigh in on that. I am not 100% sure about the Coke Rewards program. Do you know, Caroline?
Yeah, I think the Coke Rewards program has changed a little, and I'm not sure if we have made that change. I know that we, if we're not doing Coke Rewards, we are doing Amazon Smile, where you can link to Amazon Smile. We are doing several different supermarkets, so you can link your supermarket card. And so I know Harris Teeter, Publix. I'm not sure if Tennessee has Publix, but there are several different grocery stores that we link to. But the Coke Rewards, I know that one changed, so I'm going to have to check on that. But I can let Cecile or Ellie know what our status is, and you can get that back out to everyone.
And I know there's some of the schools that collect like the ink cartridges. Do you all do that as well?
We don't collect the ink cartridges. I think KDS may be the only school that still collects.
Couldn't remember if it was one or two of you that still did it, because there used to be a sheet that would show us which school did what. But as things are changing, like those old Campbell soup labels,
Yeah,
I aged myself here by even acknowledging I remember that. And then the other points, and I can't remember the
box tops for education.
Box tops.
Yes.
Now you have to scan it with your phone. So a lot of those reward programs have started to go away. Different brands aren't using those anymore. We do, however, still have a 10,000 square foot thrift store. So if you like to shop at a thrift store, ours is really among the best. If you also have thrift to bring, come visit us sometime and drop off thrift there. We'd love to have you.
And that's a perfect segue because we just had a question about the thrift shop and how specifically a DAR chapter can contribute. Is there anything specific they need to know about the types of items that they can bring?
I'll tell you that we really sell just about everything there. And furniture, any kind of furniture is really our biggest sellers, but clothes and sports equipment, jewelry, we have our own jewelry counter there. And so it's a pretty special place. I'd love for you to visit if you've never visited. I tend to take things to the back and donate them and then walk in and buy things and take it out the front. I'm not sure net it's helping me clean anything out, but that's kind of how it works with me.
Okay, I'm excited to have an answer really quickly. We do still accept Coca-Cola. How it's changed is you have to sign up and enter your own codes, and then we are giving I think they give us the donated funds once a year, I think is how that comes in. But we use them for sports, technology, and school supplies.
Great question from Barbara Ward about COVID, how COVID has impacted us. We're one of those groups that are considered essential employees. So Katie is essential. We have continued to operate with normal services in our foster homes and our campuses. What has changed is we really had to limit visitors coming onto campus. For many months, we were in complete lockdown, trying to keep COVID off campus. We have since opened up our campus businesses, our coffee shop, our weaving room, and our sales store, but our cottages are really still closed for visitors, so we don't let visitors go in and out of the cottages right now. And it does limit children's ability to visit with their biological families. So we're having families come to campus and not kids go to their biological families just because COVID rates are so bad right now. We have had a couple positive cases, but for the most part, we have really worked hard to keep everybody safe and healthy and to keep COVID off the campus. Our medical staff has worked nearly round the clock for the last 7 or 8 months. And so we're so thankful for them. But it has been a hard thing to do. Our school has been in session the whole time. We've never closed our school. Because our children, that is one of their safe places, is to be able to go to the school. And because we have it on campus and because we work in partnership with them, we can ensure those safety protocols.
That was one of the reasons why, even though we were so looking forward to doing the fairy tea and really kicking off that new program with you, that we had to postpone that, was because we wanted to make sure we kept the kids as safe as possible. So hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to do that when things look a little bit better for everybody involved.
Everything's a little bit different this year. Nothing has been quite as fun for anybody. But if you can imagine, when you're in foster care, you've lost your parents, your home, your school, your friends, your pets. And so it is particularly hard for them that they have had a level of isolation because of that. And so it is, we're doing our best, as Katie mentioned earlier, the board game warehouse, trying to make sure they have games and puzzles and getting them outside as much as possible. The snow will start pretty soon here, so that will get a little harder. But yeah, we're thankful for that. I did see in the chat box around, can you order weaving on? Absolutely, you can order weaving on our website. You can go to the weaving room. You can watch a video about the history of the weaving room. You can meet some of the weavers on our website, and you can order goods from our weaving room. They're the best baby blankets in the entire world. So if you've got a great baby or a grandbaby coming into your life, they're absolutely the most amazing.
There was also a question about whether the school needed PPE and contributions of that.
Yeah, that we were really good for a while, and now as we continue to need it more and more, we can always use more PPE. If we don't need it on campus, we would then get it to our foster parents because our foster parents don't always have the same access. So yeah, if you have an abundance of PPE, we don't want to take it from any medical providers or anything like that. But if you have an abundance, we could certainly always use it.
Can you use the homemade masks? I know at one point that was a request. Are you still collecting those for the kids?
So right now we have plenty of children's masks. If anybody makes adult size or even extra large masks, we can always use those because we have adults that need them. We have had to purchase quite a few of those kind of PPE masks for staff. But yeah, we can, and DAR responded almost immediately with our call because before everyone started producing masks, they were hard to find. And so all those homemade masks got put to use, and our kids have been working through them for the past 8 or 9 months.
Do you have any other questions?
Oh, I wanted to say that another thing that we've used a lot since we couldn't go out and do things, the movie theater. I know that was a DAR project, our theater room, right?
Yeah.
Like we haven't been able to go see movies since like February, right? And going and using our theater has been really great. And
Do you need movies, Katie?
Oh yeah, movies always work. We like to keep them age appropriate. So, but yes, movies are always good to entertain because our kids are as young as age one, and go all the way up to age 20. And so we're often having multiple ages. Katie, how old are the kids in your cottage right now?
Well, I just had really good news. 3 of my kids went to be reunited with their family last week, so I'm a little empty now, but my youngest was 8 and my oldest is 15. So there's a wide range of interests. And my neighbors in the cottage right down the hill from me, their age range is 3 to 14. So
Do you prefer to buy them, Katie, or do you want money so that you can buy them, or do you want us to pick what we think is appropriate and send?
Our rec coordinator, Karina Cruz, has a library of movies. She hosts and facilitates movie afternoons. I think she's doing one tomorrow. It's Veterans Day, so there's no school. So I'm not sure what she would prefer. In the cottage, we go to Redbox. Sometimes getting out to Redbox is the only outing we can go on. So it's a we used to have a Flick Video, but they went out of business because we were the only customers.
Gift cards are always great. So if we can pass those along to Karina, Karina does all of our recreation activities and extracurricular activities for the kids. So anytime we get gift cards that are designated for her to use for recreation activities, that's always so helpful because then she can go buy movies and then she can use that to buy, hula hoops for games and craft activities. We've talked about a gingerbread contest. Each cottage does a gingerbread house. So you have to buy those kits to put those together. So anytime, you're thinking about recreation, certainly during COVID for the kids, the gift cards are always welcome.
Great.
And I know we've had at least one comment. Do you all need popcorn to go with the movies?
Sure. We actually have a commercial popcorn machine that we use. So if you have the commercial popcorn, absolutely send it over. But anything like Caroline said, where the cottage can just go to the store and pick out things like a kind of a traditional family would, we like to try to normalize that as much as possible.
And we've had at least one participant just wanting to thank you for the service that you are providing to children in your area.
Thank you. Thank you. My grandmother, who's lived her entire life in Cookeville, Tennessee, was a foster parent. And when I was growing up, I had foster aunts and uncles, always my age, that lived with her. And so I'd been exposed to foster care really early in my life. And so it's no surprise that I wound up being in this career now for 25 years.
Well, certainly Crossnore is filling a gap in the services in North Carolina, but I think you are certainly a pattern for what we would hope other programs could look like. And you really are just changing lives of children. I know that when I was there on the schools tour, I met a young man, and his story just would have broken anybody's heart. And his is just one of many lives that over the course of this school's history have really changed. I think we've had another comment that has come in. Is there a wish list online that specifies what items you currently need?
We use Amazon wish list, and I think Caroline may be putting that in the chat box or can email it to you. Our Amazon wish list is how we keep that updated. It is especially important when it comes to Christmas because we take every child's Christmas list and put them all together and then translate that into a big online Amazon wish list. And if you've ever seen Christmas for 90 children at one time, it is quite an overwhelming experience, but Christmas is pretty fun here. Santa shows up and Mrs. Claus shows up every year, and we have a really, really good time. So absolutely, we'll get you that link for our Amazon wish list.
Yeah, I'll try to get it in the chat box before we hang up here. Hold on one second.
Perfect. And we can also send that out to our members so they can have those links. Are there other questions? You can unmute or you can put them in the chat box. Oh, how do you do Thanksgiving?
So how we normally do Thanksgiving is not how we're doing it this year. We normally have a big feast in the dining hall on each of our campuses, and the children can invite people in their lives. Some of their kids have biological family members that they visit with, or they have social workers or guardian ad litems that they can invite to come to campus. So that's usually a big fun time. We're going to be doing smaller Thanksgiving celebrations with each cottage this year. So just like everybody else, we will have to modify things a little bit. But yeah, it's a fun time for us. Holidays are hard for our kids because holidays, like for the rest of us, is when you think about your family the most. So those can be kind of hard. So we try to make everything very special. Yes, we do try to include some needs for our cottage dogs. That's one of the questions in the chat box on our wish list. When you're the owner of 20 or so dogs, because every cottage has a rescue dog on each campus, so we have quite a few needs around animals, and we have everything from a Chihuahua mix to a Great Pyrenees. So we are kind of the whole gamut.
I'm actually working Thanksgiving this year. My kids are really excited about it. And I worked last year too, and we did have the big Thanksgiving, but also on Thanksgiving Day, our Thanksgiving dinner was catered, which was a relief probably for my kids that it wasn't me cooking. But they're excited this year. My older girls have been planning, they want to cook things that they made at home. And so we've been making plans because I'll be there with them that week. And also cottage dogs. On the slideshow you saw, the beautiful dog with the piercing blue eyes. Her name is Cookie, and she is my cottage dog. And she always would accept donations of treats or toys.
Isn't there a fund for veterinary care? Didn't someone establish a fund? And how is that doing? Does that need donations for that?
Caroline, do you know the details on we call it our pet nurturing program, and we do have some regular folks who try to support pet nurturing every year, but there's not a fully endowed fund at this point.
We had a Florida daughter last year who made a gift for the entire year to cover the entire our pet nurturing, all of our food and our vet bills. So she made a one-time gift last year to cover that for the year.
Mm.
Yeah, because you have horses in there too. Those are expensive.
Well, and Tutti Frutti, that llama, he's pretty cute.
Tutti Frutti is a mess. Let me just go ahead and tell you. Tutti Frutti spits and has all kinds of behavior problems, but Tutti Frutti is an icon on the Winston-Salem campus. Everybody comes to see Tutti Frutti.
But the dogs are super helpful, and a lot of times the dogs get included in the kids' like safety plans when they're having a hard time. Like almost all of our kids have therapists and are working through things in therapy, and that can bring up a lot of feelings for them. And so their therapists help them like early when they come in, make safety plans, things that they can do when they're feeling like triggered or unsafe, or just working through some difficult emotions. And I know our cottage dog has been on several kids' safety plans, and she's, sometimes it's easier to show affection to an animal than a person. And sometimes building a connection with a dog is easier than an adult if you've been through some traumatic experiences. So.
That's right, Katie.
And Caroline has put the link for, I guess is that for the weaving shop or for Amazon Smiles?
The one I just put in is for our Amazon Christmas list, for our wish list.
So this is an odd question, but I just thought of this. As a person with allergies, what do you do with the children that are allergic to dogs or that are cat people?
So cats, although wonderful, tend to not be the most nurturing animals.
No,
so we don't have cats in the cottage. We do have some low shedding or low dander dogs. And so if we have children that have allergy issues, we try to put them in a cottage with a low dander dog. If we have a severe allergy issue, then we will have another cottage take care of a dog for the time that the child is with us. But most of our kids can really connect with one of our low dander dogs. And those, we have a little bit of everything in the dog category.
Do we have any other questions? So they can even be questions about dogs and allergies for the cat people.
We also, before COVID limited where we could go, my cottage used to regularly visit the Humane Society and cuddle some cats, because we do have some cat people in there. And the Humane Society was always grateful that the rescue cats were getting some attention too. So.
The question in the chat box is, do you need an appointment to visit? You do not need an appointment to visit. If you want an official tour, we ask you to make an appointment so we can schedule that. We're trying to do some socially distanced tours, but you don't need an appointment to come to campus. You can visit our coffee shop and cafe, our thrift store, our art gallery, and our weaving room. It's really a great day trip.
I think some of the Long Island ladies were just there. My chapter tries to come about once a year. And you're being asked if the llama's hair is used in any of the weaving.
So we do some weaving with alpaca, and it's local alpaca farms, but not our llama. I think I was not joking. Our llama is behavior disordered, and so our llama is very special, and we do not try to collect her hair.
Well, we have just a couple more minutes before the end of the hour, and we're certainly we don't want to go over 9 o'clock in the interest of time. But if anyone has a remaining question or two and want to throw that in the chat box or ask, I'm sure that that none of them can be as crazy as my dog allergy question. So.
I just wanted, I was in the Long Island chapter and went up last Friday to visit your school for my very first visit, and so impressed, just fabulous. outreach to the community and these children that need so much support.
Thank you, Janet. We're so glad y'all got to come.
It is a blessing of Northeast Tennessee that we are so close to you. I know our daughters in Memphis are not as convenient for visits, but I certainly hope that daughters across the state have kind of just seen a sampling of what you're doing for children, and hopefully they'll have the opportunity to come visit. I know Ellie organized a tour a couple of years ago that a lot of the ladies in East Tennessee were able to participate in. And certainly this has been a very special event for us to be able to host you so that you could really share your story with our daughters. So there is another a question about a cumulative list sent to attendees for ways to support. And we will send something out regarding the links. I know that Carolina and Brett will send me a full list and we can post that on the Facebook pages and via the links. I'm not sure if after the fact I can send through Zoom, but we'll certainly try to do it that way. And someone wanted to know about the strawberries.
So we, one of the ways we reach out to the community on our Winston-Salem campus is that on the farm there, we have a huge strawberry patch. And I don't even know how many hundreds and hundreds of gallons of strawberries we sold this year. But I think we made about $30,000 off of strawberries. So that tells you a lot of strawberries. And it was widely considered that we had the best strawberries in town. So that's a fun thing that we do as an outreach community there down in Winston-Salem.
I'm going to have to be on the lookout for strawberries. You may put Scott's out of business. They won't like that. Well, thank you so much. We're going to close it out and we will get that information out to the attendees and to our other daughters as well. But thank you again, Brett Loftus, for being with us, and Caroline Hart. It has been so wonderful just to hear what you're doing and to get some snippets about what we can do to help. And Ellie, again, thank you so much. I appreciate what you did to get this off the ground. This was Ellie's idea to do this Zoom meeting tonight. She wanted to make sure when we weren't able to do the fairy tea that we were able to do something with the school during 2020. So many thanks to Ellie for organizing this for us.
My pleasure. Thank you to Brett and Carolyn and Katie for sharing your thoughts and all the ideas on ways we can help.
Thank you all. God bless you. We're so thankful for you. Hope to see you in person sometime soon.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Katie.
Take care.